Hey, what's up? This is Scott with Level Up Tutorials, and in this video, I'm going to be showing you all of the configuration options you have available to you with the accounts package. Now, this includes hooks for when you're logging in, logging out, creating a user. The user has been created, and now there's another hook on the server side that allows you to have access to a lot of that information. So this is going to be extremely useful for, let's say, if somebody signs up, they check a box that says that they want to be on your newsletter, then you can check that value, send their email to your newsletter, and do it all on your server. So let's get started right now. So in addition to everything that we went over in the last video, there's also this form fields configuration section of the guide here. If you go through here, we actually looked at a lot of these, but there are a ton more. So I mean, you can have lowercase or uppercase or transforming your value in a certain way before it's submitted. So definitely don't skimp out on checking out this user accounts guide, because the stuff in here is absolutely invaluable, and it's going to give you just the options to do what you need to do without having to write from scratch. So let's actually come up here and let's check out some of the more options that we have, including just general configuration that we're given. I mean, if you scroll up, you can see just how many things we can configure. And you can see that we have the accounts.templates.configure. So let's go ahead and use this accounts.templates.configure by coming in. We can have this in our accounts.js file, and we can say accounts.templates.configure. Now this is essentially just going to be, we have a function, inside of that we have an object, and wrap it all off with a semicolon at the end. Now inside of this object is really, as you can see here, just key values based on different configuration options. And let's take a look at some of these. So we have the option of confirming password, which is set to true by default. You'll notice in our application it asks to confirm your password. If you don't want that, you can always just say confirm your password false. At this point, it's not going to ask for that second password field on the registration. Let's just click register, and as you can see, it's now just asking email, password, first name, profession. So again, this is a one-liner, confirm password false, and that removes that entire bit of functionality. Again, we have enable password change, which you could turn that off, so they couldn't even change their password through this kind of form. Obviously, that's something you probably don't want to do, but at least there's the option there in case you wanted to write your own password changing functionality. Here you can force the username to be lowercase. We can turn off things like labels or placeholders. You can give URLs for the privacy policy. Go ahead and say privacy URL in here and check out that. Let's get rid of there. So now the privacy policy URL is going to be available at /privacy, and now you see by clicking register you agree to our privacy policy with a link to a page that doesn't exist right now, but obviously you could make it exist. In addition, we could add something like this terms of use URL. Now, a privacy policy and a terms of use are great things to have, so it's nice to see that you can easily build these options directly into the account registration process. We can also add a redirect, and you'll see that there's hooks. So on logout hook, my logout function. On submit hook, my submit function. So let's actually do something here where we have an on logout hook. So let's come in here and we can say comma on logout hook, my logout function. And so we have my logout function. Now let's go ahead and actually make this function here. So what we can say is var my logout func, and this is going to be equal to a function, and we can simply console.log hello. Now at this point this isn't going to work, but it's not going to work for a very specific reason. If you were using the accounts UI package and you had written your own, then we would have no problems here, because that's going to be using the correct logout function. But if we come to ours and let's come here, we sign in and log out, you'll notice we're not getting any sort of console log. Let's actually figure out why. In our header, I believe, let's go to partials, and actually we want our main nav.js where we're actually calling our logout. So when we click logout, we're running meteor.logout, but what we actually want to run here is accounts templates .logout. This is going to do the same thing, but it's using the account templates, and that way the hook is aware here. So we have accounts templates .logout. Let's check this out now. We'll sign in, click logout, and now you can see we are successfully hitting that hook. So this could be a really cool thing. Let's say, let's sign in, and let's go to the dashboard. Now, we want to actually, in our accounts.js, when this function runs, instead of doing something stupid like a console log, let's go ahead and actually have a rerouting here. So we can say, so if you're on the dashboard here, or really any page, and you sign out, let's go ahead and redirect them. So let's go and say flow router.go, and we can say inside of a string here, just the /URL. Now you could always, obviously you probably don't want to reroute them if they're already on this page, so you could write some sort of if, but for this example, it's totally fine. We're logged in here. Make sure that this is all on the latest versions of everything. Nice and refreshed here. What we can do is go ahead and select logout, and boom, it's taken us directly to the home page here. In addition, it had the modal window still up. Let's go ahead and figure out. So we had a session variable toggling that open window, that login. If you go to M, you'll see nav toggle is set to open. Let's go ahead and not set that to open. We can also just do a really simple session.set, and we can say, I believe it was nav-toggle, and we could just pass it a blank string here, because all we're doing is checking to see if it's open. But as you can see here, what we're going to now do is you'll see that our session variable nav toggle is set to open. When I click logout, it resets that, so the nav toggle is no longer open, and we're redirected to the home page. So this is pretty powerful. I mean, we wrote this hook in no time. It's redirecting our users. My logout function, we're saying accounts templates on logout, run this function. So if you're wondering if logout is the only function that exists, no, we actually have tons of other hooks. On logout hook, on submit hook, pre-sign up hook, post sign up hook. This is a really interesting one. It could be something that you could use a lot, to be honest. Let's say we had a checkbox that was checking to see if somebody was on or they wanted to be in a mailing list. So you could say check here to be in our mailing list. Now that value is going to be passed along through this info. So if you were using something like MailChimp, you could always pass along the user's info along to your mailing list as long as they checked that box. You'll notice this does say it's called server side only. So if we do actually write this post sign up hook, I'm going to copy that just to have it in my clipboard. If we do write that post sign up hook, we can't do it in our accounts.js that's living right now on the client. If we had this in a location that was for either client or server, we could definitely wrap that in a server. Let's actually go ahead and just have a server client folder. So I'm gonna have a new folder, and it could just be server. I'm surprised there isn't a server folder already, but we haven't done much work yet on the server. And let's have a new file, and this is just going to be accounts.js again. And I'm gonna head back to my client accounts, copy all this stuff, paste it in here. And I'm gonna delete all of this stuff, okay? And so my logout, this is going to be now post sign up, like so. Let's get rid of this stuff in here, and let's go ahead and add some configuration options. If we head back here, the post sign up hook is post sign up hook, all in camel case. And from here we can say use post sign up, this function right here. Notice how we're on the server, so this should run no problem. If we head back to the docs, you'll notice we get access to the user ID and the info. So let's go ahead and say user ID, comma, info. Now we can console log both of those. So console.log user ID, and we can console log info. This is going to be so awesome because you're going to see all of this information get printed on our console. I mean, we can really do anything with this info. Like I said, you could sign them up to a mailing list as long as they opted in for that. So let's go back and let's come to our page here. Let's make sure everything is at its latest version. I'll check my command line. Okay, everything's restarted. Let's go ahead and click login, sign up. Let's register. I'm just going to mess with this email so I can create a new user account. Let's click register. So as you can see, we're logged in. Obviously, there's nothing going on in our client-side console. If we head to our server console, we get the user ID and we get an object that includes the email. It includes the hashed password with the algorithm, and we get the profile object including first name and profession. So like I said, if they had to opt in, sign up for newsletter equals true or whatever, you could write that function and you could call that sign up directly from your server-side code. So as you can see here, you don't need custom accounts to have that sort of functionality, and you don't even need another package. It's not like you need a package to do that for you. That's all pretty simple. I mean, we managed to get all of that information with less than 10 lines of code here, and it would be even less without these console lines, right? So without these console logs, we could put in our sign up form, whatever in here, and we now have access to post sign up hooks. So as you can see, the user accounts package is very full featured. In the next video, we're going to be overriding some text and labels and things of that sort with more configuration. So as always, this is Scott with Level Up Tutorials. If you want to hit me up at Twitter or Facebook or leave a comment in the video, I would love it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.